Everyone thinks natural disasters are a modern problem. They're catastrophically wrong. For 5 days in November 1703, Britain simply stopped existing, vanished beneath a killer cloud, a tempest so fierce it would rewrite the definition of catastrophe. This wasn't just a storm, it was an act of God, a divine fury that reshaped the very landscape. The week began innocently enough. Early November 1703, a chill in the air, but nothing to suggest the impending doom. Ships sailed freely, Londoners went about their lives, unaware of the gathering darkness off the Atlantic coast. The first whispers of trouble were just that, whispers. Then, on November 24th, the wind began to rise. A low moan at first, building slowly, steadily. By the 25th, it was a shriek, a banshee wail that tore through rigging and rattled window panes. This was no ordinary gale, something far more sinister was approaching. The night of November 26th transformed into an inferno of sound and fury. Hurricane-force winds, estimated at over 120 miles per hour, slammed into the British Isles. The sheer power was unimaginable. Structures that had stood for centuries began to buckle. London, the heart of the empire, became a war zone. Chimneys collapsed, roofs peeled away like parchment. The Thames, usually a bustling artery, became a raging torrent, its waters surging over its banks, swallowing up entire wharves. Panic spread like wildfire. Churches, once symbols of permanence, lost their spires. St. Paul's Cathedral, a relatively new marvel, suffered significant damage, its lead roof ripped away. The city's inhabitants, caught unprepared, huddled in terror, listening to the world tear itself apart. But the true horror unfolded at sea. The English Channel and the North Sea, vital arteries for trade and naval power, became a graveyard. Hundreds of ships, caught by the sudden ferocity, found themselves at the mercy of the tempest. The Royal Navy suffered catastrophic losses. Admiral Sir Cloudesley Shovel's fleet, patrolling the Channel, bore the brunt. The HMS Resolution, a third-rate ship of the line, was completely dismasted and driven aground, her crew fighting for their lives. The most famous casualty was the HMS Association, a 90-gun second-rate ship. It sank with all hands, including Admiral Sir Cloudesley Shovel, off the Scilly Isles a few years later, but this storm was a precursor to his tragic end. The scale of naval destruction was unprecedented. Across the coasts, lighthouses, crucial for navigation, were simply obliterated. The Eddystone Lighthouse, a marvel of engineering, was swept away entirely, taking its designer, Henry Winstanley, with it. A stark reminder of humanity's fragility. Estimates vary, but around 13,000 lives were lost across Britain. Most perished at sea, swallowed by the enraged ocean. But thousands more died on land, crushed by falling debris, drowned in floods, or succumbing to exposure in the brutal aftermath. The economic impact was staggering. Merchant shipping, the lifeblood of the nation, was crippled. Trade routes were disrupted for months. The cost of repairs, both public and private, ran into millions of pounds, an astronomical sum for the era. Beyond the physical destruction, the storm left an indelible mark on the British psyche. It was widely interpreted as divine retribution, a sign of God's displeasure. Sermons across the country preached repentance, fueling a sense of national dread. Daniel Defoe, the renowned author of Robinson Crusoe, published an account of the storm, collecting eyewitness testimonies. His work, The Storm, provides a chilling first-hand look at the terror, the desperation, and the sheer scale of the disaster. The storm also spurred advancements. Lessons learned from the widespread destruction led to improvements in building techniques, particularly regarding roof and chimney construction. A grim but vital evolution born from tragedy. Naval architecture, too, saw changes. While not immediate, the vulnerabilities exposed by the tempest influenced future ship designs, pushing for greater resilience against extreme weather. The sea always teaches its harshest lessons. Yet for all the rebuilding and adaptations, the memory of the Great Storm of 1703 lingered. It remained a benchmark for disaster, a terrifying reminder of nature's raw, untamed power. A scar on the nation's history whispered about for generations. It stands as Britain's worst natural disaster, not just for the immediate devastation, but for its profound and lasting impact on infrastructure, economy, and the collective consciousness. A hurricane-force tempest that forever altered a nation. Uncover another hidden chapter of history's darkest moments next.